This week's top stories, top volcano-related news stories. In the Philippines, the Taal Volcano produced 3 new eruptions, sending plumes of superheated gases and minor ash a few hundred meters into the air. Meanwhile, in Vanuatu, the Ambi volcano produced a new eruption, bringing the number of actively erupting shield volcanoes on the planet to 4. And, Portugal volcano update. In what is this week's top story, the alert level was raised at a volcano in Europe that was not in Iceland or even Italy, but rather Portugal. This occurred in Portugal's Azores island chain, approximately 1,585 kilometers west of the city of Lisbon, at the Santa Barbara volcano, which marks the tallest point on the island of Terceira. Since 2021, a slow but steady escalation has occurred underneath this peak, with increasing earthquakes that used to occur at a rate of 0 a month now occurring at a rate of 65.4 a month. There have also been alleged changes to sections of its hydrothermal system, but what specifically caused Santa Barbara's alert level to be raised from V2 to V3 on the V0 to V6 scale this week was the detection of new ground deformation, specifically uplift. This uplift means that we finally have confirmation that an intrusion of magma is ongoing, probably at 5 to 8 kilometers depth, and this is displacing rock it intrudes into upwards. Although no ground deformation figures have yet been provided by officials, a check of satellite data suggested figures of around 4 mm during the last 3 weeks. The alert level of Terceira's fissure system, which runs across the entire island, was also raised due to a very minor increase in earthquakes there, going from V0 to V1. The good news is that Terceira's unrest is not rapidly but rather slowly escalating, meaning that any true volcanic threat is likely months to years away. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, Taal eruption. The Taal volcano erupted thrice this week, each time involving short phreatic explosions in its central crater which did not eject any lava. The first such eruption was observed at 21:30 on June 24, which lasted for 2 minutes and produced a 600-meter high plume. 5 days later, separate explosions occurred at 14:30 and then 14:38, once again creating minor eruption plumes which were visible from afar. These eruptions altogether mark Taal's first phreatic activity since June 8, and are all likely driven by unusually hot pressurized gases and steam rather than directly from shallow magma. As indicated by the still fairly high sulfur dioxide emissions which have actually increased in the last week, more small eruptions are likely to occur during the next several weeks at Taal. Meanwhile, in Vanuatu, on the large island of Ambi eruption Ambi, which is entirely an edifice of a shield volcano with 2 rift zones, a new eruption was detected at 14:40 on June 29. The eruption in question was explosive, sending a plume of ash to an altitude of 3,000 meters or 10,000 feet. A similar explosion followed at 21:52. And then seismic data detecting a 97-minute-long episode of continuous ash emissions beginning at 22:22. Since no thermal signatures were detected, my current interpretation is that this eruption is also purely phreatic in nature, originating from a cone in its highly acidic lake, Vui. This eruptive activity may become more explosive if fresh lava does end up erupting, as this could easily interact with the abundant groundwater present, causing the lava to fragment and generate strong ash emissions. Regardless, eruptive activity is likely to continue for several more weeks to months. Here is a quick list of all of the world's list of erupting volcanoes which are currently erupting. Additionally, here are some volcanoes showing signs of unrest which are not erupting as of the recording of this video on June 29, 2024.